Eloquent English. Unlock the power of fluent English.
Hey there, friends. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted to ask a question but stopped yourself because you weren't sure if it sounded smart enough?
Or maybe you asked something and the room went quiet and you weren't sure why?
Oh, yeah, I've had that moment more than once. But here's the thing. Smart questions aren't about using big words or being super clever. They're about how you ask. And today, we're spilling all the secrets.
Welcome to Eloquent English, the podcast where we help you speak confidently, think in English, and connect with people.
I'm Helen, the curious, chatty one, and this is Carl. He's calm, clever, and a genius in all things tech.
She means I ask a lot of questions, the right kind.
Exactly. And today's episode is a game changer. We're giving you 6 powerful techniques that will help you ask better questions, the kind that impress people and keep the conversation flowing. Whether you're in a classroom, a job interview, or just chatting with friends in English.
These tips will also boost your confidence and help you become a better thinker and listener.
Yep. So if you ever felt shy about speaking up or worried your English wasn't good enough, don't miss this. You'll walk away with tools that really work. Ready?
Let's dive in.
Okay. First step, one of my favorites. If you want to sound smart when asking a question, avoid just asking what. Try asking why or how instead.
Exactly. What questions are basic? They just collect facts. But why and how questions show you're thinking deeper.
Let's take an example. Imagine you're in a meeting and someone shares a new feature. You could ask, what is this feature? That's okay. But now listen to this. How will this feature help users? Or why did the team choose this direction?
See the difference? The second version shows interest. It invites a conversation, not just a short answer.
And it works in learning, too. Let's say your teacher explains a grammar rule. You could ask, why do we use the past perfect here? That kind of question helps you understand, not just memorize.
Another example. If you're learning vocabulary, don't just ask, what does this word mean? Ask, how is this word used in daily conversation?
Ooh, I love that one. It helps you move from textbook English to real English.
So here's the takeaway.
Simple summary, don't just ask for facts. Ask why something works. Ask how it's used. These questions help you learn faster and sound more thoughtful. Now, let's talk about a magic phrase that shows you're really listening. Ready? It's this. As you mentioned.
It's simple but powerful. When you repeat something the other person said before asking your question, it shows respect, and it helps you build trust fast.
Let's say your colleague just talked about a new marketing strategy. You could say, as you mentioned, the campaign is focused on younger users. How are you planning to reach them on social media?
That's a great question, and it makes the other person feel heard. You're not just jumping in with something random.
Exactly. It also gives you a few extra seconds to think in English, which is great if you're still building your confidence.
Want another example? Imagine your friend says she's trying to eat healthier. You could ask, as you mentioned, you're cutting out sugar. How's that going so far?
I would love that question. It feels personal, like the person really cares.
And it works in school, too. Let's say the teacher explains something in class. You might say, as you mentioned, this tense is used for habits. Could you give another example?
Simple summary, use as you mentioned to show you're paying attention. It makes your question more thoughtful and keeps the conversation connected. All right, now let's take it up a notch. This next one is super helpful for learners who feel nervous asking questions. It's called the CQC framework.
CQC stands for credibility, Question, context. It's a structure to help your questions sound clear, respectful, and smart.
Let's break it down. First, credibility. Say something that shows you've been paying attention or you care. Then ask your question. Finally, add a bit of context so they understand where you're coming from.
Here's a simple example. Let's say you're at a workshop. You might say, I really enjoyed your explanation about design thinking. Could you explain how it applies to real-world projects like software apps?
Boom, all three parts. 1, credibility. I really enjoyed your explanation. 2, question. Could you explain? 3, context. How it applies to real-world projects like software apps.
This framework is especially helpful if you're speaking to someone important, like a professor, a manager, or a guest speaker. It makes your questions sound thoughtful, not pushy.
And it's easy to practice. Just remember, don't rush. Think of one nice sentence, one clear question, and a little context. That's it.
Simple summary. Use CQC, credibility, question, and context to ask questions that are clear and respectful, especially in formal or academic situations.
Now, this one is a conversation saver. It's called the respond and ask technique.
This is great for learners who worry about running out of things to say. You respond first, then ask your question.
Exactly. It's like saying, I'm listening and I'm interested. Here's how it works. Let's say someone tells you they've just started a new job. You could say, oh, that sounds exciting. What kind of work will you be doing?
You gave a short response. That sounds exciting. Then you followed up with a question. That's how you keep the conversation alive.
It's so much better than just going, what's your job, right? That feels cold, a bit robotic.
Yeah. And this technique is super useful when you're still building your confidence in English. It buys you time and keeps the tone friendly.
Let me give a language learner example. Say your classmate says, I find listening practice really hard. You could respond, yeah, I feel the same sometimes too. What do you usually listen to?
That makes you sound relatable, not just curious. It builds connection.
Simple summary. Don't just jump to a question. First, say something short, a comment or a reaction. Then ask. Respond and ask keeps things natural and warm. Okay, let's talk about something super important. Tone. Even a great question can feel rude if it's too direct. That's why we use softeners.
Softeners are short phrases you put before your question to make it sound more polite or gentle.
Exactly. Things like, I was wondering. Would you mind explaining? Could you tell me?
These are especially helpful in English, where being polite is often more important than being direct, especially with teachers, bosses, or strangers.
Let's say you're in class and you don't understand a word. You could say, what does that mean? But that might sound a bit sharp. Try this instead. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you explain what that means?
Much nicer and still clear. You can even use this in emails or text. For example, I was wondering if you could share the schedule with me.
And by the way, you can combine softeners with other techniques like, as you mentioned earlier, I was wondering how this applies to part-time students. Boom, you sound professional, respectful, and interested.
Simple summary, add softeners like could you or I was wondering to make your questions sound more polite. It shows emotional intelligence and earns respect.
Last but not least, this one's got a fun name. Question sandwiching.
It's a super simple technique that makes your question feel more natural in conversation. Here's the idea. Comment, question, comment. Like a sandwich.
Let's break that down. First, say something about the topic. Then, ask your question. And finally, add a follow-up thought or reaction.
Let's try one. You're talking to a classmate about a project. You could say, I saw your presentation. The visuals were amazing. What tool did you use to make those slides? I'd love to try it for my next assignment.
So good. It feels natural, supportive, and not awkward at all.
And because you're adding your own thoughts, it's easier to build confidence. You're not just asking, you're chatting.
Another example? Sure. Say you're speaking with a coworker about working remotely. You might say, I've been finding remote work pretty challenging. How do you stay focused at home? I might try your approach.
You've shared your experience, asked your question, and then stayed open. It's such a smooth rhythm.
Simple summary. Think comment, question, comment. Sandwich your question between two small statements. It feels friendly and confident and helps you sound more fluent.
All right, let's slow it down for a moment and take a closer look at some of the vocabulary we used today. Just 5 words or phrases, but they're super useful.
Yeah, if you can understand and use these, your English will instantly sound more natural.
1. Softener. Noun.
This is a polite phrase we add before a question to make it sound gentler, like, could you explain? Or, I was wondering. Example, I was wondering if you could help me with this form.
2. As you mentioned. Phrase.
This one helps you show you were listening and link your question to what someone said earlier. Example, as you mentioned, the results were unexpected. What's your plan now? 3. Sandwich. Verb. Informal usage.
Not just for lunch. Here it means to put something between two things. We sandwich a question between two small comments. Example, your idea sounds great. What made you think of that? I'd love to try it too.
4. Follow-up. Noun.
This means a second question or comment that comes after the main question to keep the conversation going. Example, thanks for explaining. One quick follow-up. Do you use this method often?
5. Polite. Adjective.
This means showing respect and kindness when speaking. In English, being polite is a big deal. Example, she asked in a polite way using, would you mind?
So try using these words and phrases in your next conversation. Repeat them a few times out loud. Shadow them.
And remember, learning vocabulary isn't about memorizing long lists. It's about using them in real life.
Whew, that was a lot, but so worth it. I hope you're starting to feel more confident about asking questions now.
And not just any questions, smart ones. Questions that make people want to talk to you more.
Let's quickly review. You learned how to ask deeper questions, how to show you're listening, and how to sound polite and confident all at the same time.
And these skills don't just help your English, they help your life. Better conversations mean better learning, better working, and better relationships.
So what's next? Well, here's your challenge. Pick one of these techniques, maybe the one you like the most, and use it in real life today, with a friend, a teacher, even in a YouTube comment.
Also, don't just listen once. Go back and repeat this episode. Try to shadow the phrases. It'll help you speak more fluently and naturally.
And if you want the full list of examples, key phrases, and vocabulary, grab the free PDF. It's in the description below.
If you found this helpful, hit the like button. Subscribe for more slow, clear, real English episodes every week.
And let us know in the comments, what's one smart question you've always wanted to ask?
Thanks for listening to Eloquent English.
We'll see you in the next episode. And remember, sometimes the smartest thing you can do is ask a really great question.